All right. Well, welcome to Taking the Leap. And I am super excited. I'm Caryn Saitz. I'm the host of Taking the Leap. And I'm really excited to have my special guest here today, Jennifer Adams Bunker. So, welcome, Jennifer. It's great to see you in a
Oh,
different capacity. So,
I'm so happy to be here.
I've known Jen for, oh my God, I guess about 9 years now, going on 9 years. And we met through Gathering of the Titans, which is one of the programs that I actually produce. And Jennifer is a member of the Titans and now a board member, which is super exciting to have more women on the board of Gathering of the Titans. So welcome to Taking the Leap. And what struck me, and I've known you a long time, is the space that you're in, which is just a huge opportunity space right now and something near and dear to my heart. And also the fact that you have 6 children. Am I correct?
You are correct.
You are a mom, and how long have you been doing? Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about what you do and your company. I know you're the CEO of Trukid, and how many years ago did you start it, and what inspired you to start it?
So I've been in business for 30 something years, and I had a toy company a bunch of years ago, like back in the day, and
Hmm.
then sold that. And then I had a sourcing company for 20 something years where I helped customers make products in China for a super long time. And then I founded Trukid when my number six baby, I was pregnant with him. So like 15 years ago, because I recognized that there was a real gap in the marketplace for healthy products, between baby and kids. There was
Hmm.
really nothing. Well, there wasn't a lot of healthy product at all at the time, but there was
Right.
really nothing for kids. So I just saw an opportunity with my own kids that were struggling to find products that were healthy and safe and for their really sensitive skin, specifically those that have eczema.
Hmm.
So my journey began to learn about healthy skincare and products that my kids needed and wanted, and here we are.
And are they made in the US or do you source them outside of the US?
Our parts are all made in the USA. And what's wild about that is I first tried to make it in China because that was my expertise.
Right.
And then I did my own research and I'm like, oh, I can't make it in China. And so then switched to the US. And I'm really, really happy I did because the quality is really, really high. I could really control my production. And it just makes me feel really good having a USA made product.
So tell us a little bit about the products, because what was your first product? What's your most successful product, and where are you going with your products? And
You know,
are
I
they
love
called True Kid? I mean, what are they called?
It's called Trukid, and I love this conversation because I love the journey. We have journeyed through a lot of things. So we started off with, hair care and sunscreen and body care, right? Body washes, and
Hmm.
we came across the eczema theme. Not only my kids had eczema, but our customers kept saying, "Your product helps my children with eczema." We're like, "Really? Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more." And so then we sort of shifted the line to be more eczema focused, and then we aligned with the National Eczema Association seal of approval, kind of, right? Where
Hmm.
we're certified to say, eczema, and our product works for children with have eczema prone skin. So we did that. Yay! We feel really good about that. And over the years, we developed some really interesting products. But my favorite product right now is our bubble pods. It's a
Hmm.
single serve, like Tide Pod for bubble bath. Oh,
Hmm.
there's the dog. Where
Hmm.
you just toss one little pod in the bubble bath, makes great bubbles, natural bubbles, really easy, very, very, very healthy. We have 5 ingredients, and it
Hmm.
is it helped. Well, you know what it is? We have helped children who have skin sensitivities get back in the bath again. A lot of mass market bubble baths are full of really harsh chemicals, and ours
Hmm.
is very, very, very natural. So bubble baths are really fun, and it gets all these kids back in the bathtub again.
And so, what's interesting about this is how do you know what ingredients are good and what are bad for you? I mean, it's great that you have that certification, because it seems that within this sort of clean beauty and conscious personal care brands and things, there aren't so many qualifications in terms of what people are using. So if I'm the average consumer and I'm the mom, right? How do I
Mhm.
know that what I'm buying is bad for my kids, and then how do I know what's good for my kids?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So there's a group called the Environmental Working Group, or EWG, which has taken this on, where they rate ingredients and then they will give you a collective number. We have one of the highest rated skincares for kids. Ours is a 1. 1 is good, 10 is bad. They did it backwards. I'm not sure why.
Uh-huh.
Because they've rated all the ingredients that go in our products. And as a consumer, you can go on and search products by brand, by product, and you can see ratings. If you see a product that's a 0 or a 1, mostly ones, like you're like, that's really, really healthy, and you can see why. And you can see products that are 2 or 3, which also really fine. Then you might see a mass market brand that you have trusted and bought, and they're like a 7. You're like,
And you're
oh,
like, oh my God, yeah.
right. And like, why is it a 7? And it'll tell you why it's a 7. And now, more research is coming in. And even for us, we use EWG also as a guide for formulations. Like we'll see ingredient that formerly was really acceptable now is not quite as acceptable any longer. So we're always trying to reformulate to stay really, really clean. So it takes a lot of great effort. And quite frankly, it took a lot of learning over the years. I still don't know a lot. I try really hard to keep up with ingredients, but it's a journey.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm a tester of all kinds of different products, and I recently saw how some of these drugstore brands of shampoos are really, really bad, and you'd have no clue, in terms of the ingredients that are in them. Do you ever see the industry kind of being regulated more than it is today, or do you see it sort of going forward as a bit of a free for all?
Well, the industry is regulated by the FDA. Unfortunately, they don't have enough people to regulate all ingredients, right? So it is interesting and left us like Scout's honor that you're being really honest with your labeling and really Scout's honor with what's in your products. I don't think it'll ever be 100% regulated. If you're on EWG, you can trust it. That they put it out there for you all to see. It's like dropping your pants, right? Like,
right.
If you're not willing to do that, then I'd have questions, quite frankly. And it's, the FDA, I forget the number now, like they've qualified like 11,000 ingredients, but there's like 100,000 that's in use. Like we have a long way to go.
So yeah, a long way to go. And they say that in Europe, it's much more controlled and people are much more aware of the products that aren't good for you. So I'm thinking about sustainable. And for you, does that mean your entire supply chain? I mean, do you source the packaging and so throughout the product, not just the formulas?
Well, I, since the beginning, made products in plastic bottles. And I kept thinking, God, this doesn't feel right to me. I'm making more trash. And then when we developed our bubble pods, we're in a pouch and our products, we don't ship water. So it's really, really, so we're not shipping water. It's really sustainable. And then we just recently did the math that our pouch of 24 bubble pods equals 3 bottles of 16-ounce mass market bubble bath.
Wow.
So a bubble bath, you have to buy 3 of these plastic bottles to one of our pouches. And that made me really, really proud. On top of that, though, we created the Trukid Zero Waste Initiative, where by the end of 2024, we hope to be 100% plastic free and compostable. As an example, you buy our product, no matter what our product is, you use the product and the packaging goes into your green bin. We leave no waste behind. And I'm actually really serious about that. In January, our bubble pod packagings will start being compostable. They were already recyclable and things like that, but they weren't like disappearing. We want everything we make to disappear back into the earth sustainably, so we leave nothing behind. And it goes with the quality of our ingredients too. If they're not really healthy and they go back into our earth, that's really bad.
Right. It goes back into the supply.
Right.
Again.
So we want to just be, this really healthy quality brand that delivers great product to you, but then our mess has gone away.
So from the consumer perspective, if I hear sustainable and I hear clean and I hear conscious, is there a difference, or it really just depends on the manufacturer and how they view it? I want to say I want to buy something that's healthy and I want it to be sustainable. Does that mean I'm buying clean?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. Back in the day, there was natural. So this feels like that conversation. And natural was a buzzword. And then you would say natural.
Organic. And then it was,
all the things that you could say, you can't really say them all now. And that was called greenwashing, where you'd pretend that you were natural, right? I feel like we're entering that same conversation again. Like, what does clean beauty mean to some versus not others? If you have a really healthy, clean product, but it's in a plastic bottle, is that clean? I don't know. Like the ingredients are probably really clean and really, really good for you. But if you're leaving trash behind, like, is that okay too? It's a bigger conversation. I think a lot of the new companies in this space are really intentionally trying to make healthy and quality products that are, a great user experience and recyclable products too. But here's a weird thing about plastic and recycle. Like, we have closed more recycling plants in the last number of years than ever. So where is our plastic going? It's not going to recycling plants.
The
And
ocean,
those that,
unfortunately.
right. So what's the solution? I don't know what it is. I do feel there's an opportunity to improve manufacturing processes, to get to clean, to really clean, sustainable beauty.
So interestingly, as an entrepreneur, your bigger why and the impact that you want to make. How do you view the impact that you really want to make with the products?
Well, it's be to leave no way to no to like do no harm. I was thinking about that last night, but also to
Yeah.
leave to make a high quality product that's healthy for us and our world, but then to leave no waste. Like that, and to inspire other entrepreneurs to be thinking that way. Like, how does one do that? It's tricky, right? It's tricky to make a high quality product that lasts on a shelf, that you can buy 6 months from now, that hasn't decomposed in paper packaging. Like, there's a lot of work to do. It can be done though. Um,
And
I
can
want to
you
be a
do it
leader.
within your budget? I mean, people say, oh, it's so much more expensive to do that, or the products are more expensive. Do you think you can do that and sort of hit the mark in terms of what people want to pay for these products?
I do. I just think one has to be clever. I think you just have to really be thinking about it. Like, well, I'm a manufacturing expert. It's in my wheelhouse. I've been making products and manufacturing for a really, really long time. So I think very differently about how I manufacture products. Like, I know the manufacturing process really intimately because
Hmm.
that's what I love to do, quite frankly. So
Uh-huh.
it's very possible. One just have to, you have to think about it. You have to think about what your process looks like.
So to that point, what do you think are the biggest challenges as an entrepreneur? And have there been more challenges as a woman entrepreneur in this space?
Well, I was thinking on that question. So, let's see. Almost 30 years ago, I started traveling to China as a woman,
Hmm.
mostly pregnant in all of my journeys. And I was really the only woman in a lot of scenarios there. And I just really felt I had to really, prove myself as a woman
Hmm.
entrepreneur. And that may not have been true. It may have been my own story. And I recognized, I'm like, oh, I felt I had to be very assertive and aggressive, like a man style. Um, and that may not have been true, and I'm not saying a man style isn't fantastic and perfect, right?
Right.
Uh, but I recognize now that as a woman entrepreneur, I'm really enjoying being really feminine and being softer. And not that I wasn't friendlier, but there's a real distinct difference in how I was and how I am now. And I'm really enjoying being with other women entrepreneurs in a way. And I also notice, and I'm so happy that women are being much more collaborative with each other than in the past, because it was a tough
Right.
challenge up the corporate ladder. Women weren't as nice to each other as they could have been.
Supportive.
Yeah. And now
Yeah.
they are. And so now there's a bigger dialogue, which I'm really enjoying, very feminine conversations.
Are you part of other groups that are sort of, because when I think about the Titans, it's probably 90-10 men to women, right?
Right.
But there are so many other groups out there for women entrepreneurs to really support one another. Do you mentor other women? Are you involved in some of those groups?
Yeah, I'm in another group called Entrepreneur Organization, which is, well, let's see, my group in San Francisco is 20% women. So, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually going to a women's dinner tonight. Yay, I
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Uh-huh.
Um, I belong to a couple other women groups that are not necessarily entrepreneur focused, but more personally focused on, like, really leaning into being what's it mean to be a woman, and I'm really enjoying that versus my masculine tendencies, which I also really love about that too. But like just being like really feminine and just being really soft, I guess, is where I'm going, where I don't have to be so hard edged about decisions that I make. And I'm making more decisions based on how I feel about something,
And
right?
you're just as successful, if not more. I
More
mean,
successful. Yes.
exactly, because you're being true to who you are at the
Yes.
end of the day and authentic about what you're thinking. And in that vein, does being a mom really enter into some of those decisions? And I know one of the things that you do really well and is I think is just so exciting is you involve your family members. Can you share a little bit about how your family plays into your companies? And there are multiple companies here.
Right. I love this question too. So with 6 kids, right? So now they're 15 to almost 29. So like now they're
Wow.
sort of grown. And my number three kid, Freddie, he's my 21-year-old. I helped him start a business when he was in grade school, in 8th grade, and he still has that business. But
Hmm.
together, we are now partners in a new collective where we are creating together really healthy brands that fall into our new ethos of sustainable, unique delivery systems, you know, um, that work with a global lifestyle, and it's really, really fun to work with my son because he is well, they're all smarter than me, absolutely, and they're faster thinkers, all this
Uh-huh.
stuff. Yeah, it's all that. But
So you should be proud of that because they learned that from you, right?
you know, I want to think they learned it from me, but I just think they're really smart on their own, right? I mean, their dad has something to do with it too, I'm sure. I'll give them credit. And so my goal is truly to have 6 entrepreneur kids. Well, they are all entrepreneurs, and how I watch how they think and do things, and they already have the bug. They may not all be business owners now, but I'm going to bet if I go back in 10 years and I look at this, I'm going to bet I got 3 on the hook in some capacity being entrepreneurs.
Working with you, or do you think they're really going to go out and create their own thing or sort of work will they work collaboratively with each other, do you think? Or
yeah, they do. So yeah, when we travel, which we like to travel as a family, we talk a lot of business as we travel, like ideation. Like we buy more brand names and when we travel than ever, because like that's an interesting idea to do that thing. And so we have a collective that we keep like our ideation board, and everyone participates in the conversation. So I think that either they will work with our collective or they'll have their own thing that is like on the outskirt of our collective and do whatever they want to do. I don't really care what they want to do, right? Like my freshman in college called recently. She goes, I think I'm just going to have a business because this college thing is really for me. I'm like, hey,
okay.
like, what do you do?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I grew up that way, and my brother and I, my dad was an amazing entrepreneur, and every dinner and every trip was really around, how do you start a business? What business is needed in this area? Oh, wouldn't this be cool if, and it's a constant thought process. And I think once you have that in you, you can't actually turn it off because you're always thinking about, oh my God, what would work or how could I do that? And I think that's the joy and the love of being an entrepreneur,
Well, and I love it too, because I can go to any of the kids and get feedback, right? Right now I'm working on new smells for new bubble bath ranges. I'm like, smell this, smell this, smell this.
Your
like,
own research panel, right in your own home, right?
Well, yeah, because the toy business forever ago, my kids are trained to look at trends, weirdly enough. Like they're very good at spotting trends. I can ask them, they can go, oh yeah, it's missing over there. I'm like, oh, so clever. So I make them smell stuff and try stuff like, I'm like, you gotta try it. And, people are like, how do your kids, do they like to try things? Like, I don't think they really like to try things, but they will do it for me because I'm not always objective enough to like,
I bet they do love it. I bet that they realize that what they're doing is kind of different than what, a lot of families do.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, what are these spin-offs that you're working on, in terms of working with your family and identifying new trends and opportunities in the business world?
So Freddie and I have launched our company called Oakwell Group, which includes all of our new brands, right? So we are launching 3 new brands in Q1. One is our pet brand, where we're launching, it's called Hello Buddy, new sustainable, innovative ways to wash your pet really quickly and easily with high quality products. So it's not your traditional anything, which is part of our ethos. It has to be unique and interesting, not me too. So we're launching a pet brand. We've already launched part of it, but not like the
soaps, like cleaning products for your dog, for your animal.
Yeah, but and I also designed a patented glove that goes with this whole thing. Like that's sort of my wheelhouse of development. And then my son is launching his men's waterless beauty line, so it goes along with the delivery systems of like no water, sustainable packaging. Designed for the millennial man who's a global citizen, who's like out in the world living in a lot of different places, and so the product can just go with them in their world travels. It's not a travel product, but it's like you live in Barcelona, you live in Spain, whatever. I'm saying same. Like you're taking our product with you because they want to
because of the packaging or
the packaging and the ingredients and the delivery system. It's really just designed for like you're a global citizen and you can take your product anywhere. You don't have to worry about it, and it's high quality performance. So we're super excited about that. And what my son is very, very good at is designing cutting edge design. Like he has a unique view into that system. And I'm like, come on, let's just be done with it already. Like I'm sloppy, but he's very clear about his design process.
That's great.
That's where we clash because I'm like, come on, let's go.
But there's balance, and creating that balance is nice.
Well, we call lively dialogue. Okay. And so now our new like rock, paper, scissors is surveys. Right. Because now I'll like we'll survey, like he'll win the one and I'll win one too. It's really funny. And then our final one, we're launching this January, which is appropriate because today's National Menopause Day, is I'm
Okay.
launching a menopause line, because I'm in it. And I want to what's my passion product really is provide products that provide comfort for women through menopause. I'm
Hmm.
not solving it. I'm not a supplement. We're creating products that help provide comfort. And I was thinking about how when you're pregnant or you're having, you're pregnant with babies like that, and it's uncomfortable too, right? And it's you're like, but you're uncomfortable and you don't complain really because you have this baby at the end, right?
Hmm.
Like that's a joyous process. And
Right.
menopause is a negative process. And I'm like, no, we need to make this a really joyous process because it's equally uncomfortable. But like we're entering a new phase of our lives, and why not make it a beautiful transition? I like to say, like, let the goddess rise. And
Hmm.
that's like we're always burning up, like Jesus Christ, we're like a phoenix, right? Like
Right.
my
So look at
husband,
it from a different perspective and
yeah.
just put a new spin on it fundamentally, you know?
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that because, like, yeah, let the goddess rise has been sort of a phrase I've been thinking about these days. But yeah, let's make menopause an actual great, awesome experience because when you're through that, you're at the end, you're just a whole new person. And with sex and everything, right? I'm like, gosh, I am more comfortable in my body than I ever have been. So it is a real opportunity to get through menopause happily, and then you're like, oh wow, I'm a goddess now, or whatever. I'm excited about launching that.
And I think women are much more open to talking about it now. It's not like something that you're hiding or, I mean, it's definitely a much more open dialogue amongst your friends and even amongst people that you don't know. It's just like, okay, no problem. I'm willing to talk about this today, which I might not have been willing to talk about it previously.
Well, even doctors don't even talk about it. And doctors, honestly, sadly enough, aren't really educated in menopause because it's not like anything else, because every woman is very different. Their
Individual,
experience
right?
is very different. And there's no
Right.
one thing that fits all. So we just decided to go in let's just provide comfort. And so you can get through the day more comfortably and be happy about it.
So, can you share a little bit what those products might be to make you more comfortable?
Well, how about you wait and see?
Okay, you're going to surprise us?
I'm gonna surprise you. Yeah.
So maybe we'll bring you back and you can do a little show and tell or
I would love that because I'll be sending you some samples for sure.
Okay. So
Yeah.
and in that vein, where can people find most of your products? I mean, are
So
you in specific types of outlets or, the bread and circuses of I mean, the Whole Foods of the world or, what kinds of stores or what kind of online, I mean, do you sell it?
well, we have gone through every sort of iteration of where to be. And I settled on Amazon, which I really love the Amazon
Hmm.
space. We're also have a Shopify. We also have other little retailers that we sell into, but Amazon's a pretty big significant part of our business because it works for my personality. So my business I made to work with my personality. How can we control our environment? But in addition to, so Amazon is a
So
great place,
direct to consumer.
direct to consumer, and our own Shopify site. But because we're made in the USA, we have international distribution because the rest of the world really values US manufacturing because they trust it as they
Right.
should. And so we have a really growing international brand. So we have distribution in like China, Turkey, Korea, Singapore, I don't know, lots of other places, Japan, maybe, I think, new. So we can be found internationally too. And I'm really proud of that something that we made here, people in the rest of the world really want to have for their
So if
children.
I'm going to Google or if I want to find your products per se, what would be the buzzwords or the keywords that I'm looking for to find
Well,
your products?
you could look up Trukid, Trukid,
Okay,
or you
that's
could
the
look
name of
up
the
bubble
company.
bath and we'll come right to the top because we're the
Yep.
number one bubble bath. Yeah, just Trukid, we'll get it done. Natural skincare would probably do it too, but bubble bath is our home base for now.
All right. So, there are a lot of things that would make our life a lot easier. And one question that I always try to ask someone is if someone had shared something with you or, given you some tips before you started on this journey, what do you wish you knew that would have made the journey a lot easier for you?
Being comfortable asking for help. I don't know if it's a woman thing, but I resisted asking for help because I felt stupid. And again, I don't know if it's a woman thing or just a me thing. So asking for help, getting a mentor, but truly learning how to read a P&L and balance sheet from day one. Because even now I'm like, oh, I don't even know. I'm pretty
So,
good at
financial help, I mean,
financial help.
understanding the numbers.
But really understanding what the P&L looks like and what a balance sheet looks like, right? My bookkeeper is educating me in it, which I'm like, I wish I'd known this 20 years ago. My God, right?
Uh huh.
Um, Yeah, and then learning like financial help really, and learning to talk to your CPA. Really
Do you think
learning how to talk
people,
to CPA.
do you think women are just scared of the numbers, or like, I mean, what's the barrier? Because
Well, I
you
don't
do
know about
hear
women in
that.
general. I know me, I think that women don't know how to ask for help for some reason. Men are super comfortable with it. And it could be how we're raised. I'm not entirely sure, but my advice to anyone starting out is like learn to ask for help. A lot of help, get help. And those that ask for help go faster further, further faster.
That's a good piece of advice to help people move forward. So, is there
Yeah.
anything else you'd like to share about what you're doing with women and supporting women, um, or
Well, I really would like, well, I sort of on the side for fun help women, get business ideas in their mind and help launch them. Friends mostly. I love talking about business with women, and I want women to be financially independent in any way they can be, and have choice. I think once we have financial independence, we have choice in our lives. And I want to continue to help women do that. I don't do it officially. I just do it for people that sort of pass my way. Also, though, I do help. Also, I also really like to help teenagers start businesses, because if you can get them in them now, then they'll stay in it
grow?
forever, and that brings me joy.
And I think, did your son also do a book?
He
Am I
wrote a book,
correct?
yeah,
He wrote
yeah,
a book.
yeah, he did, called No Desk, No Stress. He wrote a book about how you can create a business and live anywhere, which is part of the global lifestyle that we're talking about now too. And like, because you know, he can do his business from anywhere. And we didn't talk about this too, but I went virtual before the pandemic. I switched from a full office with staff to my home office before the pandemic, because I recognized like we can be virtual. I don't need to be in an office with
Hmm.
overhead and all that stuff, and I can hire talent other places that aren't available to me here. And his book was about that. Like I can just work from the beach. And the irony of it is he launched his book from a
Hmm.
boat in Mexico. The little shit.
Hmm.
I'm like,
He's off having a good time, right?
right, 'cause he's proven that you can do these things, and I have so much to learn from my kids.
Yeah, it's a different generation in terms of how they think about it, but they're incredibly successful. And I really think that you having the balance of all of this input, and the eyes and the ears, and also I think because you are family, there's a certain level of trust.
Yeah,
And you know how to deal with each other at the end of the day,
yeah.
that it allows you to move forward in a very different way.
Well,
And
it's really fun. So my husband's a contractor, and he's resisted the entrepreneurial bug, even though he's a contractor, right? But he is letting me help him start a new business.
wow.
From how I would start a new business from a female perspective. It's wild that he's so interested in it, because he sees how much fun I'm having, and he is learning to pivot in his mind to like a female way of running a business and using word like joy and comfort and home. And it is like opening my heart like I can't even tell you. So he's becoming a goddess, a goddess guy.
Wow, that's pretty cool though, don't you think?
I
But I think
do.
he's surrounded by it in your home, and I don't think he has a choice at some point when you've got 6 or 7 people in your home that are really strong entrepreneurs. It's like, okay, what am I doing?
Yeah,
So
it's
that's great that
amazing.
he recognizes it and that he's willing to go for it, right?
Yeah, no, it's thrilling, and the kids, are building the website and all these things. It's thrilling because business. I love business, and I don't think I'll ever not be in business, even when I retire, whatever that means. I'll
Right.
be doing something with business because it really does light my fire. It
It
brings out every.
stimulates your brain and it just
Yeah,
keeps you alive. I mean, there is something around lifelong learning. I mean, that's also why the Titans are so special because
yeah,
you're always learning. I mean, and it's about constantly stimulating your mind and thinking of new ideas and thinking of new things. I can't imagine also being retired. That's just not something that I can imagine. I don't know what I would do. Like I'm not the one who wants to sit on a beach forever and just kind of do
right.
nothing. And
Yeah.
I also think that I think you want to make an impact on this world.
Well, I personally do, and I know you
I
do
do
too.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, you do
exactly.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's really important. And I think that, that's what sort of fills my cup, to know that I can impact. And that's really why I started taking the leap, because I think there's so much to learn from other women
hmm,
and their experiences. And it's really learning through your experience because, again, no two experiences are going to be the same, but there are so many trends and so many things that if we knew before we started, or if we knew even along the way, that can make the journey so much more fun and pleasurable and successful at the end of the day, and the impact is much larger than if you try to do it alone. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, the alone thing is it's no good. It's no good for us. I have a lot of female conversations that are a lot of mini accountability groups, and most of it is not just what you do today. It's a conversation that leads you to something. Like, oh, I'm so glad that we had that conversation because I wove my way to a decision. And it's a different way of accountability because it's more female. Like we're just talking.
It allows you to think through with a different perspective, and to say, oh, there's more than one way, right? And there's so many ways to get to where you want. So thank you for being here today. I'm super excited about what you're doing. I can't wait to see the new products, and I hope you'll come back and share them with everyone.
Oh, Caryn, this was really fun. Thank you so much. And you're such a goddess for doing what you're doing. Thank you for bringing the women to the front.
But it's all of you that are paying it forward, to all of the women that are out there working really hard, and also who have an idea and who really want to go for it, but they're just a little scared, or they just need that nudge to get them over. And I think that speaking to so many women who are doing it really helps them just take that one next step. And that leap can be small, but it's still a huge leap in terms of moving forward. And so taking action is just, it's the way to go. So thank you so much for being here today. And we look forward to what's to come. So thanks.
Thank you, Caryn, so much.
My pleasure.